What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and we are in day 3 of probably one of the biggest events to happen in the video game world and really in pop culture in general in terms of social media and modern day video game journalism, video game developers, indie game developers, in any one of these spaces, even modern Hollywood cinema. The culture of cancellation is something that has been increasing in its power over the past few years. It's something that, quite frankly, needs to end. And before I give all of the updates here, I want to lead with my conclusion, because or a thought to take away, and perhaps an inspiration or a reason to share this video, because I think it's a tale, a story, a cautionary tale about the culture that is facilitated by, in particular, Twitter, of canceling people here in movies and video games. The list of people affected by this are long, and I think we've reached peak damage by it. It's one thing to talk about somebody in private. It's another thing to, seek to take everything from them, which is exactly what cancel culture wants. It's driven by people who have nothing, in my opinion, in their lives, whether it's emotionally or financially or both. And it's a movement driven by jealousy, anger, sadness, patheticness, and wanting to drag other crabs down into the bucket with you. If anything, I hope the main takeaway from this whole mess will be that people will think twice about participating in this type of stuff. I think it's important that we cover it, catalog it, archive it here, because, well, people are deleting things faster than I can make videos immortalizing some of the things people said. I do think that people are redeemable. You have to eventually forgive people for things at some point, or just ignore them. Maybe you can't forgive them, but you can ignore them. And in this particular case, all the players in this game, it goes deeper than ZQ, who many people will kind of place all of the blame on. I'm not actually one of those people. In my opinion, this person is a do-nothing, has added nothing to society, has only caused problems, and is not worthy of our interest. But as a educational point, I think it's relevant to this story. The bigger story should be about the culture of cancellation in of itself here in video games and movies, and just how many times it was wrongfully executed, that the men, in almost every case, were completely innocent of the things that were said about them, whether it was Hardwick or Signor, or maybe it was even Alec. We don't know, and we will never know, because of his decision to check out. And there's a few major updates here that I'm going to go over, and I hope that you'll share them out there, because I think it's important to follow the kind of story from beginning to end here. And we're still very much in the middle, I believe. But for those of you who aren't caught up, and I've got 2 other videos on it, check them out. They're basically cataloging each day's developments. A developer who is well known for taking money and not producing video games, accepting Patreon money for years and not updating patrons, had publicly made some statements about another video game developer, and the internet does what they do. It ended up causing this person to lose his job in video game development. It caused him to have his video game canceled, and caused him to eventually decide to check out. He had felt, by his sister's own words, he felt he had lost too much. Now, in the very beginning, when these things were announced, I thought it would be interesting to show the reaction of the internet. This is the account where the original story started, ZQ's account. You can see, for the most part, it's stagnant. Some days it adds followers, some days it drops followers, but it's pretty much, 10 or 15 people one way or another. When you're talking about an account with 120,000, it's irrelevant nowadays. Most days, averaging losing. But on the day that the tweet was posted, the account received 657 new followers, followed by 3,200 more, and followed by another 800, another 200. Let's call this what? 4, 5, about 5,000, 6,000 new followers. A gigantic sum for an account that had been relatively stagnant for months. In fact, you can see this account rose to popularity in 2016, 2017, but had largely remained stagnant the last year or so, gaining almost no followers until this little blip here at the end, which we all know why that was. I'm not saying that people shouldn't follow people or that it's, it is a natural thing of becoming an important topic. In fact, I probably gained a few followers too. By the way, follow The Quartering at twitter.com/thequartering or on minds.com, where I'm active on both. Yesterday, after not updating patrons in over a year, the last update to patrons was December 14th, 2017. Okay. And by the way, before I go much further, a little bit of cleaning house real quick. I know I don't do anything real quick, but to those who would have a problem with the chronicling of these events, you're wrong. To those who say, for example, me, I'm sending people to do things. I do not control my followers, nor have I ever controlled them. You can't have it both ways. In all videos, including this one, I will ask people to just keep their conversation here in the comment section and to not extend that past out onto the internet with anybody or anything like that. So either, as hard as it is to believe, maybe people that are watching my videos don't listen to me and go do whatever they want to do. That only proves the fact that I can't control my viewers. I can ask that you don't do these things, and I am asking that, but you're your own people. Anyway, I continue. Has not updated your patrons, in which you've been accepting about $1,300 to $1,400 a month for the past several years. Nothing since December 14th, 2017. Zoe Quinn logged in yesterday, though, to remove the amount of backers, to hide the amount of backers and the amount of money she's making. Not to update her backers, but to remove it. Why do I know that? Because here is a snapshot on August 29th where it was publicly available that there was 538 patrons at $1,372 per month. And people ask, oh, is that per video or is that per... People get confused. No, that's per month. So she gets that money regardless of whether or not she posts. And by the way, this is a mortgage. My first mortgage on my house was $1,250 a month. So in over a year, 2 years almost, right? The 2017 is the last update. December 14th. So a year and almost 2 years hasn't had an update. Okay. Still cashing those checks though. Still cashing those checks every month. That is a mortgage. So again, you haven't updated your patrons in almost 2 years, but you log in to hide these numbers. Why do you think that is? Well, I have a theory. Would you like to know what my theory is? If you watched part 2 of this, which I'll link in the description. Actually, I'll just link both part 1 and part 2 if you want to get caught up. There were people on Twitter who were saying, you know what? I'm going to back her Patreon to help show her support. Good. Good for you. People should do whatever they want with their money. It is my theory, just like we saw in the Twitter account, a massive influx of new followers. I believe it's at least plausible that she received a large influx of new patrons and new financial backers, and she wanted to hide that as to not seem like she was profiting off the whole situation. Now, maybe she was, or maybe she had fewer. But it seems awfully convenient as somebody who hasn't updated patrons in almost 2 years would log in and hide the amount they're receiving every month. Is it possible? Could it be because all of a sudden she received a couple hundred new patrons and a bunch of more money, and she wouldn't want people to know that? To me, it seems at least believable. Now, perhaps the biggest update, perhaps the biggest update that came from all of this, is Alec himself had, in fact, predicted this. Now, perhaps the most chilling bit of information to come out here is that Alec himself predicted this would happen, or at least had thoughts about it. In a what appears to be very real post from 2016, he shares a personal update. I'm not going to read everything. I'm going to read the parts that I think are important. He, in general, is just talking about, I turned 33. I wanted a break from making music for my new video game to write this particular birthday. He talks about dealing with some distorted beliefs of reality, DBT as he calls it. And he gives an example. I believe certain people in the indie game community want me gone. What does this mean exactly? Does it mean I think that they're going to walk up and do something very bad to me at some point? No. I believe they are trying to covertly hurt me and my career to the point where I'm driven to self-terminate. He literally predicted exactly what would happen in 2016. There are smart people who are capable of predicting what results their actions would cause. Therefore, they either have A, wanted the outcome that occurred, B, been indifferent to the outcome that had occurred. Both seem pretty horrendous to me given the nature of the outcome. Wow. In any case, I've survived to be 33. I've gone on to a variety of indie game festivals over the past year and in a slow progression of exposure therapy despite all the overwhelming triggers. So I'm kind of proud of myself for a few months. Honestly, didn't think I would. You may or may not think that it was anything to even get over, but if you have respect for me as a human or my work, I'd hope you'd take this as an opportunity to try empathizing with something that sounds a little bit crazy. That doesn't mean you have to believe that it's real, but anyway, he goes on to share it. Okay, I'm not going to go through their personal replies. Now, other things that have surfaced, I'm going to go over here in a second, but there's one thing in particular in relation to ZQ that I want to talk about. In the original thread, which may or may not have been true, she made it very clear that she knew, even back in 2016, that Alec was fragile and that he had made comments about doing this to himself in the past, just over their breakup. She no doubt knew about the Facebook post where he talked about this in specific words. She no doubt knew what would happen, but she positioned it as though she, in fact, believed in rehabilitation, that she had forgiven him. Well, it is my opinion that she did not care about him, that she did know he was fragile and chose to post this anyway in exchange for what appears to be about 5,000 Twitter followers and an undisclosed amount of patron money. That's what it looks like to me. When you publicly state in your post, I'll read it here on the other screen, I do not wish any ill will. I know Alec is likely not well, and I always believe in rehabilitation over punishment. I don't want anything bad to come of this to his collaborators who may not know of any of this. But you posted it anyway. Why? Why? I'm not saying you didn't have a right to. I'm saying I'm questioning why. You obviously didn't go to any authorities for it. You didn't tell anybody. You didn't change your working habits in the video game industry. Why did you share it publicly? I'm genuinely asking. Because all we have are my best guesses right now, or the viewers, the viewers' best guesses, who are taking a moment right now to leave a like in the video and comment what their best guesses were. I know what the knee-jerk reaction is because that's all we have. Here we have posts which have been confirmed from 2013 where Alec calls ZQ a pathological liar. I believe him based on the many proven lies that have spewed. Now, just because somebody's made up false statements before doesn't mean that this one for sure is false. But I'm saying when you have a history of this dating back to people that dated you, dating all the way back to 2013, calling it pathological liar quest instead of the video game name that ZQ gave, one has some questions, right? But that wouldn't stop Brianna from coming down from her congressional run to say this is a phenomenally, I'm sorry, let me go back. There is a terrible situation in the video games industry that is attracting people like flies to a rotting piece of meat. I have a statement. It's imperative that authorities do not repeat the mistakes of GG, investigate things, and finally go after them. You mean how absolutely zero charges were filed? And all the documentation, not one of any video game fan or anything like that. And it's pretty hilarious, to be honest with you, because for somebody who has, let's see, 90,000 followers, you can barely muster 500 favorites. You, of course, have the main people. Now, I will give AS some credit here. Okay, I'm going to give her some credit. She may be profoundly out of touch for reminding people, hey, I'm at PAX. Here's a place for where you can get some help should you feel like you need it. It's a profoundly tone-deaf statement considering the source, but I actually give her the benefit of the doubt. I think she probably meant it. I think that she is completely unaware that her stating this at this exact moment comes off as hilariously bad. You can see still the pinned comment is about the video game industry and video game developers and things of that manner. It's probably her most popular tweet in a very long time. What we know is that Alec was a broken man. That he loved video games and he enjoyed exploring some of his own mental issues in some of the video games that he worked on. We know that the culture of cancellation needs to end. And I'm guessing that if there's any silver lining here, that people please take more time before just simply retweeting things or emailing video game developers' bosses and asking them, hey, is this okay? You know, or is this what you're going to do? Especially when these claims are so just willy-nilly. We saw a situation with a Netflix cartoon creator where it was their own words, okay? That's a little different. I'm not saying that good old-fashioned consumer pushback in the video games industry or in the movies industry isn't a good thing. I'm saying proceed with caution. And if anything, I'm hoping that this is the end of it. I'm not confident, but I'm hoping people who are watching this video or this series and watching things unfold and watching all these cowards run and hide, deactivate their Twitter accounts after dogpiling the guy. Half of the indie video game industry completely threw the guy to the wolves, and now they're all hiding and privating their Twitter accounts. Real stunning and brave. I can't wait to see all the posts from you coming back talking about how you were in a dark place or how you were profoundly affected by it. If you're going to do it, if you're going to participate in it, have the courage to stand by what you said. This isn't Salem anymore. Let's end these witch trials. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, before you leave, make sure you leave a like and and drop a comment on it. It's the only way to help the channel grow in today's YouTube environment. Above, you'll find a link to subscribe, and make sure you turn your notifications on, or if you just want to check out another video, there's one of those up there too.